And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. So, I've been meaning to record this now for like the past hour or two, but I got a new mic in, and now it's my first time setting up the mic. The mic is a quick and easy one to set up. It's a Toner TC777. That's not a hard name to say, but just I was normal. So I use an iMac. So when I use my iMac to record, I just been using the regular built-in microphone, and it's been pretty decent. But now I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going on like 20 episodes now, so I want to try to get a better mic or whatever. And the mic was like $40 on Amazon. It's a decent mic. But man, I'm recording in GarageBand, and I'm still trying to, I guess, figure out the make sure I eliminate the background noise. But at the same time, like the background noise is kind of going. I don't want it to be too dead silent when I'm not speaking, and I don't know. I guess I'll still tweak it or whatever. I have a hard time because I can easily get lost into something and just spend hours and hours trying to perfect it, and I have to make sure that I be careful of that because I can easily go lock into something and just try to so hard or not try so hard but pay so much attention to the small details and really try to get everything exactly how I wanted to sound or be exactly perfect. And sometimes you just gotta let it go. So after about an hour or so sitting here trying to mess around because I still only like how my sound waves are coming in right now, and the microphone input volume is almost turned up to 100%. And I mean, there's still some tweaks I can do to it, but fuck it. Yeah, it's just fuck it. I'm I'm not on a time limit, but I know at any minute I'm sure the kids are gonna wake up and make all types of noise or whatever. And I'm trying to stay true to what I said about this podcast, that I wasn't gonna be concerned about the audio or visualizations or all the other stuff because I'm not trying to be concerned about marketing, but I do want it to sound good for the few of you, the few of you that actually listen and shit. So I do want to kind of have some quality, but at the same time not be too consumed by it. But I don't know. Maybe when I'm done with school and I have a lot more free time, or not a lot more free time. I still got free time, but I can, yeah, I can still get better and tweak things, whatever, and stuff like that. Or maybe I should not use GarageBand. I probably should use something else to record instead. But there's plenty of time to. Well, I'm on episode 19. Yeah, there's plenty of time to adjust, whatever. So, with all that shit said and out the way, we can get into talking about what I wanted to talk about. So, I've been thinking about this for. I always say I've been thinking about this, but that's bullshit. I'm always thinking about everything, which I'm pretty sure I probably said before too. So, whatever. My thing is today is manipulation in media. And when I mean media, I'm talking about your TVs, your things that you listen to, your podcasts. Your man, I'm just trying to slide a chair up. I almost shook the whole fucking desk. But we're talking about TV, books, music, audio, the things you read. Of course, the news stations, it's all that stuff. So it seems like, actually, not seems like, plain and simple, obvious fact, true observation. We are being manipulated by media all the time, always. From CNN, when CNN is more of the left side, I guess, liberal or whatever, democratic, wherever the hell you want to say, and they always have certain things to say, or when they talk about certain things in the news, they'll say there's that viral video going around and stuff where it shows the bias or how a protester or like on CNN it would be called a protester and they're peacefully protesting and they'll use those words stuff. CNN is in Atlanta, so you're gonna have more of the left side, the Democratic side stuff because historically or statistically that they know of, that they say black people tend to vote for the Democratic Party, and so they appeal towards that audience. And then for Fox News, they're not going to call the protester peaceful protests. They're going to talk about the riots. They're going to call them thugs and things like that. And then from that, you'll have people make it a racial bias, or I believe that's a racial thing or whatever. What it really comes down to is one side is playing with the one side, or catering towards one particular audience, the other side catering towards another particular audience, and they're just going along those different things. But all forms of media are biased, and I feel like they're not even trying to hide it. And one thing you need to know about the media and the history of America, because I'm speaking in terms of America. You have Operation Mockingbird, which was a operation done by the CIA to influence foreign media, or to use media to influence foreigners or whatever. If you get a chance, look it up, watch the YouTube videos, read something about it. But the simple fact that they have no problem with getting on the media and infiltrating the media and setting up different things, and that we know that is declassified as a CIA operation. It makes you wonder, did they just stop, or did they just change tactics? Because any government, any business, anybody is trying to use propaganda, or they're trying to manipulate you into buying something or doing something. And I kind of wish I didn't get into trying to figure out trying to set up the microphone and doing it how I want to do it, because I lost a lot of train of thought on what I wanted to say. But hopefully it'll come back to me. So my thing with the media is, people have to realize is that their main purpose, first and foremost, is profit. They're a business. The product they sell is information. Well, I take that back. The product they sell is entertainment in disguise as information. When you see a news article, and if it says, so especially right now, we're talking about a white cop killing a black man or whatever. The second you see a news article, any media that says white cop or black man or unarmed black male, don't listen to that shit. Don't read that shit. Because right off the bat, they are trying to incite emotion into you. They're not trying to give you the facts of the situation. In fact, all media, news outlets, wherever the fuck you want to call it, should be boring as shit. It should be so fucking boring that you don't even want to read it, because facts are boring. Plain and simple. The basic information is boring. I don't need anyone's opinion. I don't need to feel any emotions. I just need the facts of the situation that we know of at that time. And I need that article to constantly be updated with new information, more and more pertinent information. So the second I see an article say white cop, I stop. The second I see an article say unarmed black, I stop. Because you're already trying to manipulate me into believing a certain thing, or you're already trying to get an emotional reaction from me. And if I'm reading the media, if I'm reading information and I'm trying to understand something, I need to have a balance of emotions and logic. But logic is not in the media, because no one wants to think logically. And they know that when you read things, you don't want to think logically. They know when you see things, you don't want to see anything logical. What you want to see is entertainment. Because when you're entertained, you come back. How can a news station get you to keep coming back other than if you're entertained? Because if they're sitting there, they're boring, and they're talking about the basic boring facts. One, the article wouldn't be that long. Two, the news stations couldn't be airing shit all day either. They do these things just to constantly get you to come back, because the more you come back, that means the more ad revenue they can sell. So I went to school for radio, and one of the things I learned was you know, that radio stations are being funded mainly by ad revenues that they sell. So the audience that you cater to, you're gonna get particular customers, as far as ads or sponsors who are geared towards that particular product. So it's a partnership for them. They're a media news station outlet, a radio station. They're connecting you, the listener, to a sponsor or someone that is going to sell you a product. Everything comes down to profit and money. And everything has a bias. And it's so annoying, because think about all the things you read. It's always against this side or for that side. Or if you read an article, it should go back and forth between both sides of an issue. Really, it should always remain neutral. And it should always go all over the place and just really report the facts of the situation. That's it. Plain and simple. You have the death of George Floyd or death of Breonna Taylor. You just need to repeat the facts. Me as a listener, I decide my emotional reaction. I decide how logically or rational I'm going to respond to this. I decide if I respond emotionally to it. Not you telling me or giving me descriptive words of, oh, a black man dies at this point in time by this white cop. And even with that, think about all the images they show you on the news, in the media. It's always when a black male or a black person is killed. And once again, I hate using the word black, anyways. But for the purpose of describing this and talking about this situation, I'm gonna use it. But it's always like that. They always show you when someone black dies from the cops, from police officers. They always show you that. And we know, if you look at the stats, white people are killed more in America, mainly because there are more of them. If you believe that, I still question the census, whatever, as well. I don't even know if white people are a majority, but over the years now, eventually they're going to become a minority anyways. It's only a matter of time, by 2025 or 2030, if they haven't already, because there's still a lot of people that identify as white, even though they're mixed or whatever. I don't even want to get into that, because that shit sounds stupid anyways. But they only show you that. They never show when a white person dies from police officers. There was a time where I was looking up videos on YouTube, and I was trying to find articles and stuff of when a white person gets killed by the cops, and it's out there. But the amount of research I had to do just to find the shit is mind blowing. But the second a black person gets killed by a white cop, that's what they're gonna show you. They're gonna show you that. Why? Because it's entertainment. Because it's interesting. Because it grabs people's attention. Because with that, one side can have their narrative, the other side can have another narrative. And that's all it comes down to. They always want you to go left or right, Democrat or Republican. They never care about you as an individual. They never care about the independent person. They never care about just telling the story with factual information. It's never that. And as long as we don't get that issue solved, it always will be that way. And I don't understand why people have not woken up to this, but then people are emotional, and it's hard. It is hard. I tell you, but I do understand it is hard, because you don't expect to be lied to. But once you realize that money rules the world, Wu-Tang said it best, Cream, cash rules everything around me. So if you looking at a news station and the anchor makes $100,000 a year, what do you think they're gonna do? They're doing what they need to do to keep their job. You see some people go off and have their own podcast. That way they can control what they're saying and stuff. But at the same time, do some of those people have sponsors that they're catering to? Because is there a way for me to make this podcast profitable? Yeah. I can get some listeners, I can advertise stuff, and then I can get people. I could probably get some sponsors, and say certain or sell certain products, or say certain products and stuff, whatever, during my podcast. And I'm not doing that, and I don't want to do that. If someone was to give me, offer me money to say a product or whatever, unless I use that product, I'm not gonna do it. Because I don't want to be consumed with the evil of money, and I don't want to be influenced by anything. Like when I speak on this podcast, my opinions are my own, and they're not influenced by anything or anybody or anyone. I try to be as unbiased as possible in my own personal life as well when I speak my mind. So I was seeing a video the other day, and because it makes me think about how there's bias in media. 'Cause even when as far as a social media platform, you will see viral videos go around and stuff. Viral videos, things that are very popular, whatever. But some of the videos that are even shared and that gets popular, they're still not necessarily factual. They're just always biased. I seen the video, and I seen it years ago too, but I just seen it recently again on Instagram from different sources. And the video shows talks about privilege, and it shows a bunch of people lined up, and they tell you to take one step forward if you have two parents in your household, or if you were raised with two parents in your household, and tell you to take one step forward, this and that. And it's trying to explain privilege. Privilege does exist because some people will have advantage, other people will have a disadvantage. And we're talking about monetary value, the physical, materialistic values, educational values. We're talking about those things, those advantages that are set up or that are part of our modern society. But what was wrong with this video is that it wasn't a true, actual, scientific experiment. It did not have random people. It had mostly white people in it, and it was weird because it's like right off the back you have mostly white people, and then you have like a couple of black people. Like I said earlier, it's not even a fair experiment because it needs to be random, and if not, it needs to be a random selection, or you make sure you pull from a diverse pool. You pull from a diverse pool. That makes sense, right? Yeah. You make sure you get a lot of diversity in it and stuff to cover different demographics or background. So I just didn't like it, and then it didn't talk about no disadvantages. But anyways, I don't want to talk about privilege. But I'm just saying that just certain things you can see on the internet, on YouTube, on all these different videos. They're trying to persuade you, and nothing should be trying to persuade you. Everything should be completely unbiased, or try to be unbiased as possible. And if it's not trying to be unbiased, then it needs to tell you right off the bat it's trying to persuade you. And you rarely see that shit. I don't want to say you never, but you rarely see that shit. And fuck, man. My audio had my headset had just, the computer messed up, and then it's telling me no output of device, whatever. I have my headphones on now, and I had it on the whole entire time, and then the computer just messed up everything. I had to stop recording and stuff, and I'm gonna stay committed to not editing anything, because when it's not edited, then we're just gonna let it go. I mean, I could edit out the sound waves and make it sound better, or all that, or like the gasping for air before I talk. I could do that, but fuck it. I'm gonna stick to what I said I was gonna do. We're gonna do this shit in one take. But yeah. So it makes me think about the other media. Uh, there's this show on Netflix, and I think it's 100 Humans, and they did a episode about talking about social bias and racism and stuff like that. But the experiments in their show was so fucking was like a botched experiment. Like it was so wrong. And it's like you would not do an experiment that way. They did the experiment to see whether how often people would shoot an unarmed black man as opposed to an unarmed white man. And they said, okay, first the black man is in a red shirt and a black hat. And the set is supposed, and the setup is like they're in an alleyway, a dark alley or something, and they're popping up behind a trash can and stuff. And then the white man is on the right side, and he's in a like fucking like a teal shirt, like, and no hat on. So right off the bat, it's not even a correct experiment because if you want to prove to figure out, how people are gonna determine which person they're gonna shoot or whatever, whether someone has a gun in their hand or a cell phone in their hand, the experiment is already messed up because both there needs to be a control where both individuals are in the exact same attire. You can't have one in a hat and a red shirt and the other one in a fucking teal, bright ass teal shirt and no hat. Because the setup is you're in a dark alley. So your mind is already thinking, because you've been programmed through media, through movies and stuff, TV shows. If you're in a dark alley and someone has a hat on, they're trying to cover their face. So you're automatically thinking that person is not necessarily a threat, but they're up to something. So if you had to choose between two options, which person would you choose? Your brain is already programmed to shoot someone with a hat on because you think in a dark alley hat, this person's trying to look suspicious. It make it even worse. He has a fucking red shirt on. Red means stop or danger or something. So the experiment is so biased, and it's so annoying. But they go through the show and they're showing like, man, and they're showing all these people. That one girl cried because she felt so sad that she's like, I can't believe I just shot this black man and I can't believe that and blah blah, like this is real. And it's like, that's the wrong way to prove it. Or no, not to prove it. Now it lets me know that you're just trying to prove something that you have already determined that you want to persuade people, but you're hiding it as an experiment. But it's not an experiment. That's bad science, and it's not science. What it is a fucking show trying to entertain people. Because that's what everything is, right? Everything is a show trying to entertain people. Everything is entertainment. So where are you supposed to get any real news at? What's the point? And I was saying earlier, like you read an article, it's always black male or white person or trans person got shot by the police. I seen that the other day. I was like, come on, man, like just say police shot a person or whatever did get on this date at this time. Just give the facts, because white male, black male, Hispanic male, Asian male, all that shit, that is a description. It's not necessarily factual. And it's also presumptuous because unless you know exactly what their heritage is or their direct heritage is or whatever, you're just going off a description. Which is still unnecessary because it doesn't tell the facts of the story. And everything you see is always just a clip. You never see the whole video. And they never wait to process, they never wait for the information to be processed for you to see the whole video of something. Everything is always designed to get you to have an emotional reaction because emotions are strong and emotions means that you're being entertained. Because most people are entertained through emotional response. You watch TV shows because they make you feel a certain way because of the drama. You feel the love, you feel the pain, the sadness. You're being entertained. You're laughing about things. It's always something like that. It's always something like that, but it's never necessarily people aren't entertained because they just enjoy learning or they just enjoy discovering something new. How think about all the times that you've been entertained by because you read a new fact. It probably took a while before you even got to that point. All right, you didn't even realize that you were being entertained by this, and I feel like that's what the biggest issue with media is. They're always trying to do certain things to get uh, emotional rise out of you. They're always trying to influence you and stuff. Always, always. It's and they use and they even the celebrities and stuff. They're trapped into it as well. They have to have a response now, or they don't have a response, then they're being criticized. Or the celebrities are in commercials telling you to do this or telling you to do that. Every fucking thing is biased and not factual. Man, I seen the video of one page I follow on Instagram, and it was talking about how it just showed how it was just a clip of showing how all these different news media outlets, these local stations across the country, was all literally saying everything word for word for word, showing you that the media is scripted. Now the video also didn't show you the other way, so but clearly I knew the video was trying to persuade me or trying to show me something, and it's letting you know that without it, and did not present it in a biased manner. It just put together different clips and allow you to determine it for yourself. You know, I say it goes back to that what I was talking about with a social experiment, as far as talking about privilege and stuff. It was trying to persuade you. It was trying to highlight an issue, but it did about it in a biased way. Because just because you highlight an issue, you can highlight an issue, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the issue needs to be overwhelming. Like this is like because when they highlight an issue, they try to say the issue is a fact. Every issue you have is not or not a fact, but an absolute truth. Like it's always here and stuff. You you trying to highlight privilege. You know privilege exists or whatever, but you went about it the wrong way. Man, I probably should have thought. I don't want to talk too much more about that because I feel like I'm not trying to. I'm not saying exactly the way I want to say it or how I want to say it, the words I want to use. So I have to wait till another time where I collect my thoughts. I really wish I didn't fuck around and sit with this, trying to get the microphone or trying to get the background noise all figured out and everything. And then when the computer messed up or whatever and froze up and cut off my audio and had to start recording again, I realized I could change different settings and stuff anyways. But after I already done recorded, but yeah, it kind of messed up my whole train of thought or whatever, and see if I can bring it all back around and get on track. But the images you see on TV, man, everything is programmed, man. Everything is programmed to get you to either buy something or make you vote a certain way or do something. I see people now are talking about, yo, make sure you vote. Make sure this is how we change things in November. You gotta make sure you vote. Are we talking about voting for president? Or are we? Because if you haven't noticed now, the majority, the president does not have that much power because that's not how the country is set up. In fact, majority of the power that you deal with or that governs you is state laws, your local laws, your district, your city, your county laws. That's what's going by and stuff. So when they tell you you see things that say go make sure you go vote in November, vote for everything. But they're also, that's also being persuasive because like, oh, everything that's going on in this country, we're gonna blame it on one person or whatnot, or so we need to go vote this person out, or and it's always in when you have a Republican president, it's the Democratic side telling you to go vote to change everything because and they're highlighting all the bad and negative and stuff to make sure that you go vote for a Democrat person. And when it's a Democrat person in, you have the right conservative side telling the Republican side telling you to make sure you go out and vote because this president is messing up everything and he's so horrible and stuff. And it's like no matter who's in office, there's always a critique of that person, but it's never an actual critique of their true politics or exactly what they're doing. And every media outlet plays one side against the other, and we're all just getting, hey, you gotta be on this side, or make sure you're on this side. And then that pushes us into a social standard where we ostracize each other because if I'm black and I don't and if I don't agree with the black side or whatever, the perceived black side of an issue of a police shooting, then I'm not black enough and I'm Uncle Tom and I'm Uncle Ruckus and I'm a racist or I'm a sellout and shit. And if you're white and you're on the white side or whatever, you're worried about the cop side and stuff like that, then you're racist, you're this and that, all these labels. But all these labels and everything come from the images that is keeps being thrown into our fucking face every time we watch TV, every time we watch the news. The media just people are, even in the social media platforms. I'm almost pretty much convinced for a fact that I don't know who infiltrates into them and stuff, but there's a lot of fake accounts, and there might even be real people that are doing this, but they just push false narratives constantly. We have the protests and riots and whatever you want to call them, or actually not whatever. It's a combination of all thrown in there at once. Protests, rioting, looters, all in there at once because you have several different things going on at once. So I live in Lakeland, Florida, and Saturday we had protests in Munn Park, downtown Lakeland, and there was like 20 people. And I seen on the Lakeland Instagram page, and it was like 20 people. And I seen like a bunch of old white people. And then Sunday, the following day, they had May 31st. They had people on there. They had people downtown Munn Park protesting and stuff, and there's a lot more and stuff. But then the protest went over to, I guess, near Memorial Boulevard, the intersection between Memorial and South Florida, and then it ended up being some violence and stuff like that. But I was reading the news on Twitter, and I'm like, I see a hashtag Lakeland protest. I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy because we didn't have protests in Lakeland before, even last year. Nothing that caught anybody's fucking attention. Maybe because there wasn't that many people. I don't know. But all of a sudden, I seen hashtag Lakeland protest, and I seen people comment about the protest and saying different things, whatever. But I'm like, wait a minute. I'm looking, I'm like, these people ain't even from Lakeland. They don't even live in Florida. Like, I look at their profiles, and their location says somewhere else. So I tweeted saying that it seems kind of, basically it's kind of suspicious that you have these profiles talking about a Lakeland protest, yet they're not from Lakeland. They don't live in Lakeland, and they're not currently here. So why are you talking about a small ass city in the state of Florida of about 100,000 people? Why are you talking about it? How do we get on someone's radar? So I was like, man, is there a proper propaganda? Is there a campaign going on to be on one side or the other? And it's just oh man, I had to take a mental health break from social media because I realized, not realized, I already knew, but it's right now it's overwhelming where everything is trying to influence you and trying to either change your mind or if you're already on that side to get you more emotionally stronghold on that side. I'm never on one particular side of any subject. Anything that happens in the public and around the world, I have my opinion, and my opinion can change from one point to the next. And and I don't hold any strong, strong emotions to my opinions either, because I'm always open to having my opinions be changed by new information, and that's okay. I'm okay if I'm wrong on a issue. If I mean, if you want to call it wrong, I wouldn't even call it wrong. It's okay if I had an opinion and then based on information, then all of a sudden I get new information and I have a different opinion. But a lot of times I wait until a lot of facts have come out to kind of formulate my opinion, and I wait and I'm checking different multiple news sources and stuff, because you can't ever just look at one, because you'll never get the full story of anything. So I check different multiple news sources to make sure that I understand, as much factual information I can gather, and do this thing called critical thinking. There's a guy called Noam Chomsky or whatever. You could look up on internet, and he talked about it back in the '80s and stuff like that. He talked about how media does manipulation, and the way it does, and the different forms it does of manipulation to the people in America and stuff. But any government, any nation, any business, everybody is trying to manipulate you anyways. I would say there's a war on for your going on for your mind, but it's not a war. If there is a war, it's between all the different factions that are trying to control your mind. Because as far as you, the individual, me, the individual, us, the individual, we already lost. We lost when we was born. The second we were born into a society, we lost. I mean, we were better off living in a tribe or something, because the second we were born into society, we lost. Because from the time of your birth, all the outside images have been trying to manipulate and control your mind to get you to think how they want you to think. And it's not that they need you to be on one particular side. It's just that wherever side you lean towards, that's the side they're trying to keep you on, and they'll continue to cater to you. If you're a left person, Democratic views, whatever, even the whole, like, no one, to me, no one should have your views or whatever should constantly be, fluctuating from subject to subject, because that means you're not biased towards anything, and that you're open to, change on your own accord, as opposed to being manipulated into a certain viewpoint or perspective. Man, I'm trying my best to keep keep it all together in my head and stuff, and give a clear, concise thought. I really, I really had it all set up. I should have not. I let myself get distracted too much trying to worry about the sound waves and stuff. But I was just, my brain is racing right now trying to. I know there's a good point I wanted to make, and I cannot fucking remember it. And I probably done pushed my time limit too, because it's already 1 o'clock. So that means my brain is starting to shut down and want to take a nap and stuff. So, but whatever. We're gonna push through it. We're good. But the media constantly does things to just invoke emotion, get you entertained, get you locked in, get you coming back, and coming back, and coming back. If I see if I see a black male be killed by a white cop, and you grew up in a black household, and you've been, and your parents and your grandparents and your great grandparents have talked about the issues of the racial injustice in this country, and you already have that sentiment or whatever, you already have that kind of bias, and whether it's a true bias, or it is a reflection, it's reality. We know what's had happened in the police brutality and the police relations, and the racism, the prejudice, and social injustice. We know these things. Now you get on the news and stuff, and you see that, and that's why they say white cop, black male, because they know how to invoke those emotions that are already that they know are already there, because the seed has already been planted throughout generations. Because the propaganda in the media goes back to, you know, the fact that we have European indoctrination as far as our history. your history books. Roots. I watched Roots when I was a kid. I think I was in third or fourth grade. I watched fucking Roots. I thought that shit was real. Roots is a fictional story. It's made up. The guy who wrote the book and stuff actually got sued for copyright for some of for the most of the story of the Roots, and the historical accuracy is not true. And someone can say like, "Oh, well, they're just trying to say that because they don't want us to know the truth." But that's not that's not an accurate assessment either. Because why the fuck would they play Roots on TV? Why the fuck would they play Roots in my classroom as a kid? Trying to let everybody know that it is a, actual historical account. But did not let anybody know it was not an actual historical account. Oh man, it's just oh man. So some of the copyright came from I think it's called The African. There's a real story about it, or whatever, and he plagiarized that, the author of Roots and stuff. Or think of how many times they always want to shove, not shove, but they want to put slavery in you. Like, yes, people, white, pale skin, they need to understand that slavery and racial prejudice stuff is real, but when you make it a black issue, then you isolate other people as well. I'm trying not to go too much off subject, but anyways, like the media, people and those that control the media, because there's only like 6 companies or something that control all the media. It's like Disney, Universal, NBC Universal Group, I think AT&T done bought up fucking everything all of a sudden. And all they do is buy up shit, and they own every fucking thing. And it used to be 6 groups. If you ever seen that infographic, that picture of like the 6 media companies that rule the world, that was back I think like back in 2010, 2012 or something like that. It shit might be like 4 or 5 groups now. Media is always influencing you. Disney movies are telling you, your kids how to think, how to behave, what's right or wrong and stuff. I don't need your entertainment. I don't need you to give a fucking story all the time. Entertain. Everyone's always trying to push an agenda. And in the day, their agenda is just profits. They just want to, they know what to do, they know what to sell. They have understood the mind. Because think about, it goes back to society, to like the dawn of civilization. You're going to try to control the masses. You're going to try to influence their behavior, their thinking. If anything, you're trying to influence their behavior and thinking because of profits, and 2, because that way you have control over them. You know what they'll like, what they won't like and stuff. You know what's good and bad, or how they will be affected. Yeah, it's just always, it's so constant. My son was reading the article, and it was called should parents allow their kids to have TikTok? But the whole article talked about all the dangers of TikTok. And I was telling my son, I was like, see, this is, and I don't know if I said this before in a previous podcast, but this is exactly this is what you need to realize and know, that this article did not give you both sides of the argument and allow you to make up your own decision, allow you to make up your own mind. It posed a question as a headline, but completely was biased towards one side. And think about first and foremost, headlines in general are so fucked up, because headlines are meant to do what? Grab your attention. You're clicking on shit, I'm clicking on shit because of fucking headlines. You have to deprogram yourself. You have to train yourself to not do that shit. So like when I see when it says white or race or any type of race, I don't click on the article. I don't click on it. I don't read it. I'll wait till I see another article from a different news source or something else. But if it says anything about race or anything, I don't click on it, because right off the bat, you're trying to get me, you're trying to get my emotional attention. You're trying to get my emotions riled up and stuff. You're trying to get me to react, to grab my attention. You're not trying to deliver the facts to me. News should be boring. And I know some people probably feel like, oh, well, but they're letting you know that this is racism going on. No, no, no. They don't need to let you know anything. You decide that yourself. The news should just be unbiased and present the facts. Because the news are supposed to hold political parties and leadership accountable, right? They don't. The news doesn't do anything other than provide entertainment. So who is supposed to hold these people accountable? No, who's supposed to hold the media accountable? You can do research and go through history and find all these different, situations or these times where the media has flat out lied about shit and had to do redacting or retracting statements, whatever, retractment statements, and correct themselves on what they said. But it's up to us, the individual, to say enough is enough. I don't want to say enough is enough. I don't want to use that phrase. It's up to us, the individuals, to say, you know what, we are intelligent enough to decipher information ourselves. Just give us the facts, and we can figure it out ourselves. Give me the facts. That's it. I don't need you to tell me this is going on, and I don't need you to tell me the descriptions. I don't need you to try to get me into an emotional reaction towards something. What I need you to do is just deliver the facts. And if those facts change, then update those facts. So, since this is most relevant and it's on my mind, with George Floyd, they're telling you an unarmed black male died and stuff. They're not telling you that the other black male that was with him walked away and was questioned by the police, and that was it. Was never put in handcuffs, was never arrested, was never detained, anything. They don't show you that video. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about George Floyd's fiance being white. It doesn't fit anyone's narrative. So what do those people do? They get tossed aside. George Floyd's fiance, I think her name is Courtney Ross. She has a video. She has one interview on a local news station in Minneapolis, I presume. I'm pretty sure. I've seen the news station, but I didn't know if it was actually located in Minneapolis or not. There's one interview. I tried to find the whole interview, couldn't find it. I only found excerpts, or I only found quotes that fit certain narratives of that news station. That should not happen, man. Think about all the times where you see a Trump tweet or a Obama tweet or all these presidents, and when they say something, think about all the times when you don't actually hear the whole context of the interview. I remember my favorite basketball player ever is Allen Iverson. And I remember when growing up, when Allen Iverson had that press conference and he was sitting there saying, we talking about practice? Y'all talking about practice? And it wasn't until the documentary on Showtime a few years ago that, the full interview or the full question and really what came out was that he was saying, hey, you trying to talk to me about practice? You saying I missed practice? My friend just died. I had to go to his funeral, and I'm not worried about practice. Like, I'm trying to be there for him, his family and stuff. Like, his friend just died. He's going through he was saying, I'm going through like some real life shit that's bigger than basketball. And you're saying, you trying to question me about practice? Why did it take a documentary to figure out the truth? Or to present the facts? Because they only want to show you just the couple of seconds of stuff to get your attention. They don't want to show you the full 10-minute interview because it's boring. And that's on them, the media, that's on us, the individual, to not be bored by the facts. If you read something and it's boring, keep on reading it, because that means odds are it's probably important information. Think about how we went from World War III or whatever with Iran in January. Then Kobe Bryant died, and then that dominated the news forever. Think about how things just dominate the news. I, I had to turn off my social media to take a mental health break, because I'm like, man, I'm just being dominated. I can tell I'm being manipulated by the people around me, by celebrities or people I follow too. And everybody's trying to depict something, depict this and depict that or whatever. But no one's really just trying to remain biased. Everyone's caught up in their emotions. And I started to feel like I was going to lose some of my emotional control, but not because I feel a particular way about anything, but because I'm getting frustrated on everybody not, trying to take a step back and let their emotions cool down and have reaction. I feel anger when anyone dies from the cops or police shooting and stuff. I feel a little bit more anger when I see it's a dark skinned person, because why? Because it's a self reflection, because my ego is like, oh man, that's somebody that looks like you, that could be you. Yeah, but that's from a egocentric perspective, because I need to feel bad that a human being lost their life, and more than just a skin color. But me as a black man saying that comment, somebody's gonna be mad about it and call me a sellout and Uncle Tom. Tell me what it is, because I know I'm not liked by a lot of people. I know some of my friends don't really. They probably like me, but at the same time, they think I'm a sellout or I'm an Uncle Tom and stuff. I know that. And does it hurt my feelings? No, because I got used to it when I was a kid. I know white people don't think I'm black enough and stuff, whatever. But I also feel bad because they're all being influenced by media, and and I know they all have it in their, they're trying to do their best to be a good person, but they're also being manipulated by everybody around them and the things they watch. But you see it. Look how things are being dominated in the media. It went from coronavirus to protesters to people saying these white supremacists are protesting and stuff with the guns and everything, and nothing's happening to them. But it also lets me know that people don't remember their history, where Black Panther Party was protesting with their guns and stuff just the same way. But like Huey P. Newton said, you gotta know your rights. You know your rights, and you can go do these certain things. Where, I mean, they still did some fucked up shit to him, and he went to jail, and then he got murdered and stuff. So it's still fucked up what they did to him and the original Black Panther Party. But and then like you see the images on TV, everything's about George Floyd and stuff. And but yet, we kind of lost sight of Ahmaud Arbery. We lost sight of Breonna Taylor as well. And every now and then somebody will interject, and you see something said about them, but it's like the media will just take one story and just run with it. But you'll never see the media run with a story of a white male being shot by the police, an unarmed white male being shot by the police. And people will say that doesn't happen that much, where it does. It happens a lot. You just won't see it because it doesn't fit anyone's narrative. It doesn't fit the storyline that they're used to telling. And they'll take one story and just throw it in the media and let it dominate. You had the SpaceX launch with the two astronauts, first privatized launch of astronauts into space. It probably got a few minutes of coverage, and that was it. Because people were like, no, we want to hear about this. We don't want to hear about space. We don't want to hear about no astronauts. But exactly what is the point of this? That's what they're doing. They know that you want to be entertained. They know that You don't have an emotional attachment to people going up into space, but you have emotional attachment to what's going on down here, and that's on us because I sat and watched the SpaceX launch and everything, and then I went right back to watching stuff about George Floyd and whatnot. Because why? I kept seeing shit about riot here, or looters there, or protesting here, or Black Lives Matters here, and or this celebrity wants to say this, that celebrity wants to say that, and I was like, I just couldn't deal with it anymore because everything around me is trying to manipulate my emotions. Nothing around me is trying to give me factual information because factual information and things of that nature has gone away. They no longer exist. Even the news sources I thought were like always showing factual things, here they are saying, nope, black male, black this, white that. I mean, if you read the media long enough, you would think there was only two races or whatever in America, and no one and everyone else just doesn't fucking matter. Man, it's just something that will probably always happen. Long as these media conglomerates are making are making billions of dollars, they have the power and influence. Really, what we should do as a society is just stop watching these media outlets. Stop watching CNN. Stop watching Fox News. Stop watching all those things. Don't listen to those anchors. Don't listen to nobody. Really, like if you give me factual information, give me factual information. If not, then don't worry about it. Or you do what I try to do myself is I'll watch the CNN, I'll watch Fox, then I'll watch an independent news site, or I'll read them. I say watch. I'll read an article here. I'll read an article there. I try to find the smallest media outlet that has like no actual notoriety or anything, and I try to listen to what they say because it's distinct words. Like I said, once they start being descriptive, once they start saying black male, white male, this and that, Hispanic, Asian person, I just stop. Because unless you're trying to say like the first black person to be valedictorian at Harvard University, or unless you're trying to say something like that, I know you're trying to be biased. And even sometimes their bias could be correct, but it's the fact that I know you're trying to manipulate my emotions. That is an issue. Everyone around you is trying to manipulate you. Your friends are trying to manipulate you by sending you certain videos to think that they're trying to, make you be woke or get you to realize certain things or whatever. I do it sometimes because I try to make sure I stop doing it now. Now I do it with my friends. My friends do it with me. Like we'll share videos with each other, but only when we know that we have already talked about it, and we're just highlighting more of what we have already talked about. So I always think I appreciate my friends that they are concerned about learning new things, and they try to show me things that they're learning, and I'm trying to show them things that I'm learning. But I'm also kind of pulling away from that too, because yeah, go learn for yourself. But yeah, I mean, we need to try to share things with each other as well. But my whole thing is like the manipulation that goes on, and you'll see a Trump press conference and stuff, and you'll see clips and you'll see certain things, but it's like you never see the whole story. You'll never see the whole transcript. And if you do, and if the article does have the whole transcript, they're also pointing out certain things which in a biased manner. History books. I was having a conversation with my sister the other day. Like, it's history books. They do not, like, historians do not want to admit that what they discover or something like that is wrong. 'Cause at one point in time, it was correct, and now it's wrong. But those, like I said, these are facts. These are not truths, because truth is absolute and it does not change. These are facts, and facts can be changed. History books are not updated. Why? Why are we still talking about Christopher Colombo? Christopher Colombo, the real name. Why are we still not talking? Why are we still saying that he discovered America, even though we know he did not discover America, even though we know he not even landed in America, he landed in the Bahamas? Why are you saying all black people in America, dark skinned complexion people in America, came from Africa, when you don't? There's no real supporting evidence of that. Majority of them went to either the Bahamas or Brazil or places in South America. You have the records. What media, propaganda, influence? You have the records. We know where they landed at. We know how many landed and stuff. Look at Christopher Columbus' journal. He seen dark-skinned people when he was at the Bahamas. Why are you calling them Indians? It took us how long to stop calling Native Americans Indians? Media, propaganda, all around us. All around us. They don't talk about the dark-skinned Native Americans that look like Africans that been in the islands of Americas for thousands and thousands of years. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to bring that up. People in the scientific community, people, the historians, people in the media, because it doesn't fit anyone's narrative. Because no one is trying to educate. Like I said, me and my friends share views with each other because we're trying to educate, because we care about each other. We're trying to educate. It's one thing to try to be biased, and it's one thing to have manipulation if it's a positive outcome. But the media, these history books, they're not trying to educate you positively. They're not having a bias in that is a positive bias or whatever outcome and trying to educate you. They're not trying to. They're just trying to manipulate your emotions to either sell your product or keep you in a bubble. Because you keep the population dumb and under control, you can always manipulate them. Because it doesn't matter if you're this side or that side. What matters is they can track whether you're on this side or that side. What matters is that they can control and influence your voting. I've never been a Democrat. I've never been a Republican. I've always been independent. When I registered to vote, when I was 18, I registered as an independent. I wanted to vote for Obama because I thought he was a good person. I felt he was charismatic. I tried not to be biased that he was dark skinned. But at the same time, he did things I didn't like and got sucked into it. I don't even know if my vote actually counted because I did an absentee mail-in ballot. I was in Guam at the time. And I vote for, I think a couple of years ago, I voted in the elections in my own local area. And I remember I had a conversation with my friend, and she was like, "Why are you voting this?" She's like, well, "You need to vote for. Why would you vote for an independent party person? Because it was for governor." She's like, "Why would you vote for an independent person?" So like, that's stupid. You're wasting your vote. I was like, "I'm not wasting my vote." Yeah, but you know that person's not gonna win. So why would you vote for that person? I was like, because it's my vote. It's who I want to vote for. It's the person I like. If that person doesn't win, that person doesn't win. I know that person's not gonna win. But at the end of the day, I live with myself. I'm not gonna vote the lesser of two evils. I'm not gonna let the media push me into the direction of lesser than two evils. Period. Joe Biden came out and said that you ain't black if you vote for Trump or if you don't vote for him. And then black people got mad. But it's the same thing that's been said amongst black people and stuff. If you don't vote for Democrat or whatever, you ain't black or so, whatever. You get mad at Kanye West for being with Trump. And there's always backlash. And then even when we see the backlash, we always think it's a unanimous thing or it's the majority. But there's no way to determine what is majority without having a full actual statistical number of all accounts. So a sentiment that only black people vote for Democrat are going to vote for Joe Biden and stuff, you have to wait till the statistics come out. And hell, I don't even think you can even trust some of the statistics as well either. Because does it account for all the people that just refuse to go upon the survey? How do you count those? Is it so? This just gives us an idea. Everyone's trying to manipulate you and put you in one direction or the other. It's always like that, man. It always will be like that. Your history books tell you one thing, your teachers tell you another thing, are the same thing, and teachers, they can't even teach the real truth or real facts or any history or anything that contradicts where they're learning in history books, because then they're going to get in trouble. So it's up to you, it's up to me, it's up to us, the individual, to influence ourselves, to maintain our own opinion, to try our hardest to avoid any manipulation. Man, with technology, increasing, it's getting harder and harder, because in an instant you're seeing all these things pop up. I turn off my Facebook and I turn off my Instagram. I'm still on Twitter and Snapchat, but I never get on Snapchat really, just to talk to a few friends. And that's it. But even on on Twitter, I'm gonna have to not go on my feed. I'm gonna have to search for the news that I want to read. And if I do see certain headlines, I'm gonna have to see those events happening, and then I'm gonna go search for those events, or that article, or I mean that situation, wherever it is. I'm gonna have to search for it myself through my own methods and isolate the biased information to get to the facts. Now you, and not even now, it's pretty much always been where you have to search for the facts yourself. The phrase is do your own research. So when I look up things that I already know how I feel about certain things. So I try to look up the things that is opposite of how I feel. Or if I'm getting the information that's opposite of how I feel, I'm trying to look for things that support what I feel. Whatever it is, I'm always trying to find a counterpart to fill in the puzzle, because that's the only way you're gonna get the factual information. It's going through all these different places to grab the puzzle pieces and put it all together yourself. Because if you allow CNN or Fox or MSNBC keeps showing MSNBC constantly keeps showing Bill Gates. Why? Because MSNBC, I looked up, is Microsoft. That's pretty much what the M stands for. It was a partnership. I believe Microsoft used to help with the website of NBC Online, or Microsoft Online News, or I think a Microsoft Network News, or Microsoft News Online, something like that. And then Microsoft merged, or Microsoft bought some shares of NBC, or whatever the case is. And then now that's why Bill Gates is always on MSNBC or on NBC. Propaganda, bias, right there. A person that has a financial stake, or some type of financial ties or anything to this media outlet, is constantly on here talking and talking. It's propaganda. It's a biased thing. Talk a little about Michael Jordan's the documentary The Last Dance. I was gonna do a whole podcast, and I might still do it. I think I said that before, but yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna say this shit now. The documentary, I thought, was about the Last Dance, the last year of the '97, the season of the '97-'98 Bulls. Right? That's what they say, right? You watch I think I watched the first couple episodes, and I got so frustrated, because I'm like, I'm watching a Michael Jordan documentary with some people thrown in there. And then I see other clips. Once again, I'm watching clips or whatever, so I don't necessarily know the full story. Well, I kind of do, but never mind. I don't necessarily know the full. I read a whole bunch of different articles to fill in the blanks and stuff, as opposed to watching the whole episode. The whole episode is about a minute, hour, usually about an hour, anyways. And based on what I've seen already too, everything is biased towards Jordan and his perspective and his version of the story. And he is allowed to comment on certain things, whatever. He's not allowed to comment on everything. or other people are not allowed to comment on everything, or other people were edited out. Horace Grant has gone on record now to say that, hey, y'all, they edit these things out. Like, I said this part, they took that out or whatever. Scottie Pippen is on record now saying that he's mad because he didn't like the way he was portrayed. The second episode, which was probably the reason I really stopped watching. So in the second episode of Last Dance, Michael Jordan was talking about how Scottie Pippen was being selfish because Scottie decided to take his surgery during the season in a way to try to leverage and show that the owner that he should have a better contract and whatnot. And it's bullshit because Michael Jordan is calling this man selfish and stuff. Yet it shows Scottie Pippen, but it never really. It kind of gave a response, but I don't even know if it's a full response or whatnot. Probably isn't because Scottie Pippen doesn't like the way he was portrayed. There's another incident later on too in one of the episodes, and I read in the articles I should say, and it's talking about Scottie Pippen and how I think it was a one game or whatever or something like that. But anyways, my whole point is that this thing is a documentary. The headline says The Last Dance. It's talking about the 97, 98 Bulls, yet Jordan is dominating the whole documentary, and the documentary is showing complete bias towards Jordan, which is why it made me so hard to watch it, because I'm like, I thought I was watching something where it's going to tell an old story from a whole bunch of encompassing people and stuff, whatever. Like, we know Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players ever and stuff, but like, who else is on the team? Like, are they going to talk? I know I remember the people on the team, but I'm saying, like, what else is going on and stuff. And before it even came out, who was doing press conference and media press things or whatever about it? Michael Jordan. But it's not a Michael Jordan documentary. But people call it a Michael Jordan documentary. So that's what I'm talking about. Look how the media outlets, media information, news, documentaries, whatever, all forms of media. Look how everything is such a bias or whatnot. Everything is always a bias. And it's really annoying and it's frustrating that it's like that. Kids yelling and shit. Everything is such a bias, man. And it is really aggravating because you can't watch anything. I sat my kids down. I wanted, because they both play basketball, so I wanted to show them some basketball history and stuff, whatever. And the first few part of it was boring, which is good because that means giving facts and stuff. And I thought I was gonna show a little bit more basketball highlights, and I told them, don't worry about it. And I watched more of it, and I was like, I don't really like where this is going. I was like, and then I have some other reasons why I don't like it as well, but I could the bias towards Jordan was beyond obvious, and it was annoying. So bias everywhere, man, everywhere. You can't just get facts. I want to say, think about the Joe Exotic documentary. It portrayed. Carol Baskin said she didn't like the way she was portrayed, but at the same time, it just showed who she was. it, it didn't necessarily show her as a bad person, but people can decipher some of the things that she was doing and saying and stuff. I'm not gonna say it's the best documentary in terms of being unbiased with her, but I'm just trying to give a relevant example. Because documentaries, case in point, should be boring as fuck. They should be so boring that it's just like the only reason you're watching is because you're interested in knowledge. Learning something new is your excitement. When you read the news, learning something new, understanding current events is the excitement. It's not the emotion of the story, not the feel-good story. Once again, when I went to school for radio, I learned how the news cycle worked as a radio station, and as a news station, how to do a broadcast. And it's time. At the top of the hour, you start off with world news and stuff. Then you go into an issue. And then towards the bottom of the hour, then you go off into more local news, stuff like that. And then you come up towards the quarter of the hour, you come with sports. Then you make sure you always end with a feel good story. Every news station goes on that same pattern. World news, world issues, current events, local news, local current events, sports, arts, something like that, and then a feel good story at the end. Because majority of the time they spend about 30 to 45 minutes telling you bad shit. So they want to make sure that they leave you feeling good with some, puppy thing or some child adoption or some pictures of kids and stuff. Think about all those infomercials when you see a kid starving or whatever. Look how biased that is. They're trying to. In one point, it's a positive bias because they're highlighting the issue, but at the same time, they're trying to get your money. You don't know exactly where your money is going, but they're telling you, and those things have been proven to be scams. But they're telling you can't watch a YouTube video or be on Facebook or anything without ads. Ads. Hell, you can't even talk around your phone without that shit telling you later on about something you talked about. Next thing you know, it's selling you something. You can't do anything without someone trying to sell your product or manipulate your emotions or, propaganda control you and all this stuff, man. It's just bad. And I don't know if it's something that I don't know. I don't know if it's something that will ever be overcome. I mean, from like like as far as taking down a system or taking down a major infrastructure, the best thing you can do is educate yourself, train yourself to notice these biased things. And here's the fucked up thing: you have social media networks and YouTube or whoever else, and different politicians and people like that telling you to look out for fake news. Trump is always saying, look out for fake news. This is fake news and that's fake news and stuff. But I mean, at this point, damn near every fake news is fake news, right? I hate that term, fake news. Because news in general seems like it's never been factual anyways. Hell, sometimes they'll throw a couple facts in there and then go off somewhere else. And go off on, their opinion. And then you'll see an article and it'll say it's opinion based, it's an opinion article, but it's like the opinion article reads like a regular article. What the fuck is the difference? Oh man, I'm convinced the only thing you can do is educate yourself, train yourself to notice things, or whatever. And they're saying this now in the media to make sure how can we teach people how to spot fake news and stuff. And one way you can teach people how to spot fake news or help people how to spot fake news is, I don't know, stop doing the fake news yourself. How about that? How about you stop with all the obvious emotional attention-seeking headlines? Look at all the headlines. Every headline is fuck. Think about all the times you click on the headline and it has nothing to do with the fucking article. You're just like, man, and it's like, and you have that phrase, clickbait. This is clickbait. That's clickbait. Yes, it is. Everything is to get your attention because they need that in order to sell you things. Facebook is free. It stays free by ad revenue. I almost feel like I'd rather pay for unbiased article. But that's still not a good system or infrastructure either, because once money is involved, then their concern is about the profit. So what is the real news? Where is the real news at? Because even some of these independent news stations and these independent media outlets, they still are biased. And you can watch one go from not being biased to being biased. Maybe maybe no one person can have full control over any media outlet. Maybe it should always be a group of people, actual people, not business conglomerates or organizations. Not people like. Is there a not? Is there a no for profit or is a non for profit? Is there any non-profit media outlets? That's a good question. As I ask that, I don't fucking know if there is. I'm not sure if there is one. I really have no idea. I think everything is that way. I think all media, all forms of media, is for profit. Your history books, profit. Who can get the contract to the schools and stuff to get the history books out to the schools? Like who, let me write this certain thing so it's agreed upon, so I can get this contract, so we can sell this book to this educational system, to this district or whatever. All right, is everyone in your district? Is everyone in your county? Is everyone in your state? Is everyone in the country learning the same information out of the same history textbook? Why are there different versions of textbooks? If we're talking about history, you have to do your own research on everything, everything. The best thing right now is that we have the capabilities to do our own research. That majority of all recorded history is on the internet. So that's one good thing. I try to make sure I learn something new every day, and the things I learn new are majority of eye-opening facts, are things I'm rewriting history. Learning that Africans sailed to Americas long before Christopher Columbus and long before other people's. Africans sailed to the Americas thousands and thousands of years ago. Um, you never hear anybody talk about African empires, but you have the Ghana Empire, you have the Mali Empire, you have all these different empires. You have Mensa Musa or Musa Mensa, one of the richest men in history. You won't hear that shit. You won't hear it for no reason, because they don't. Nobody wants to rewrite history, because there's profit in selling these history books, because this country was a former, if not still, depending on the laws of how you read it, depending on what laws you know, actually, a British colony, and the European indoctrination and the European influence of its history pushed upon everyone around the world. Really, just Europeans were just not as more prominence, and then they felt like they wanted to be prominent and be what you want to have a great British Empire or the Spanish or Portuguese Empire, and then we're doing this stuff in the lands of Europe, and Europe is not even a fucking continent. I mean, shit, it's not a separate landmass, but yet their propaganda are spread around the world. Influences history. Why? Because they're trying to do something. They're trying to control the minds. Everybody is trying to control other people, whether it's physical or psychological. They're trying to control you, because if they can control you, that means they can dictate and predict your movements and what you're going to do next. Because we have money, and with money, somebody needs to make a lot in order for someone to make a less. You have a worker class, you have the elite social class, you have the elite economic class, and you have the lower economic working class. The working class has to stay the working class in order to keep the rich people rich. Plain and simple. And how you do that? Psychological manipulation. Control. That's all it's about. I'm trying my best not to be all over the fucking place, but man, it's uh, as I think and speak, it's mind-boggling, man. How much information is just so wrong, and even when they discover something new, they still know it's wrong, and they don't do anything to make sure that they correct it. Christopher Columbus should not be celebrated. Christopher Columbus Day should not be celebrated. The natives of America, of the Americas, of Turtle Island, North America, United States, Turtle Island, the natives were multicolored. It's a huge landmass. Lots of people throughout history came to what we call United States now. We're manipulating our own country as far as how the country works. We're told we're always constantly told that you gotta vote for the president because the president is an important job. But when the country shut down, who shut down your state? Who shut down your city? Wasn't the president, was it? Because if he wanted to, he would have kept shit open. But no, it's your local government. So why are you not out there voting for your local government? How many of you know your mayor? Know your city council? There's something I had to just do myself recently, get more involved in understanding this. Because even though I knew it, knowing it, then it took me a while to practice it. Well, I guess I also I determined I was going to stay in this city as well. But still, your governor. Everybody's trying to influence you and tell you this and that. Everything around you or everything that's being spoken is, inaccurate. It's just not facts. Just not facts. We done went off the coronavirus on the George Floyd, and then something else will come along, then we'll be on that. Why? Because the media will headline these stories, and no matter where you read, what you read, that's what you'll see. Your friends and your family members will keep highlighting these issues, or not issues, keep highlighting these current events, because it's okay. Yes, we need to know about these things that are going on in the country, but we also cannot forget about other things going on as well. We are all intelligent beings. We all have the capabilities to know and absorb tons of information. Far as they know, or far as they have told us yet, there's no computer out there that has a processing power as the human brain. So you can read about George Floyd. You can read about Breonna Taylor. We can fight for their social injustice. We can talk about police brutality. We can talk about police reform. We can have that discussion. We can talk about the coronavirus. We can talk about getting sports back on. We can talk about watching MMA. We can talk about all these things because these things are our lives. These are what matters. But it's a whole infrastructure of system of control, because I say that as a person who stays at home, takes care of his kids, goes to school. And I know it's harder when you're working because you're stressed out from work. You're stressed out from your family members. You're stressed out from your kids. You're stressed out from your partner. You're stressed out from work. And now you want to know some news. You want to know what's going on. You just want to be told. And that's laziness. Don't allow yourself to be complacent and wait for someone to tell you things. Take ownership of your life and your existence. Take ownership. you're busy, you're working, you're doing things, you're taking care of your family, you're doing all these things. You want to go look some news, or you want to go look at some news, you want to go read some news, you want to find out some things, do your research. Don't go directly to a certain site. Scatter around. Eliminate options. Find out what is the most unbiased. Because in reality, we're still dealing with technology and information is going damn near almost it seems like the speed of light, way faster than what the fuck you know or what you're used to. So it takes a few more minutes to go find out that information. A few more minutes to find out what's going on in the world. I could tell you that there's theories that there's been a civilization in Antarctica, and that is under the ice. Will you hear that on the news? No. And if you do hear it on the news, it's probably gonna scroll down to the bottom of the screen, and that's it. Or they might talk about it for 5 minutes and go right back to something. Go right back to something else to capture, because that's boring. Because if I tell you a new civilization was found, if I told you History Channel did a whole documentary about finding the missing link between monkeys, those apes, and human and modern Homo sapiens, they did a whole documentary. I can't find it at all. Maybe I jumped through a parallel universe or something, because I was out in the missile field. I was in Montana, so this is 2000. I believe it was 2010. I remember I got so excited about it. Might have been 2009. I remember I got so excited about it. And what the missing link was some little small animal, and there's a little bone inside of this animal's foot, and that little bone inside the foot is one of the bones that is inside our foot that allows us to stand upright. I tried to look for that shit a few years ago, couldn't find it. Think about all the stuff you looked up and you heard about, and you try to go back and find it, and it's gone. Mind control. Information control. Entertainment. With no sports, people freak out. Why? Because there's no entertainment. Because learning is not entertaining for seems like a lot of people. And I'm making a broad assumption, but how many people do you know sit there and read things? And then if you do, and the people that do read things, they always go to a certain site, a certain article, a certain publication. They're not, being diversified and not making sure that they see all perspectives. And you can be inept to this type of behavior. As far as my personality is that INTP personality, I'm very logical and rational and stuff. But at the same time, you can teach yourself that. Because I don't even. I did personality test, the Myers-Briggs personality test years ago. It was 2010. I did it. But my thing is, I don't think of myself as a rational personality type. I think of myself as I learned how to be rational. It's something that I wanted to teach myself as a kid. It's something that was influenced probably by my parents as well. Because when I was younger, I had a temper tantrum. I had a lot of emotional outbursts and stuff. And I got tired of being controlled by emotions, because my emotions got me in trouble. So around the age of like 9 or 10 or whatever, I stopped. I just stopped. I told myself to stop and think, because if you stop and think, then you have differently. It's okay if you still have those emotions, but you don't have to always react to them or respond to them. And if you have too many emotions, then it clogs your judgment. It clogs your thought process. We live in a constant state of heightened emotions. It's either fear or anxiety or anger or hate. Because you don't see a lot of positive shit on TV. You don't see a lot of positive images. If the news is really unbiased, they'll show you, for every negative image they show you, they'll show you a positive image. They wouldn't wait till the last 10, 15 minutes of the of the media, of the 1 hour media cycle to show you something positive. For every George Floyd, they won't show you something else. They won't show you a non-George Floyd. Or even for a George Floyd, they won't show you a white person being killed that way, or a Hispanic person, or an Asian person being killed that way. And George Floyd shit is fucked up. But they won't go into, they won't try to tell you something else. They won't show you a positive image. Police brutality is fucked up. Police in general is really a fucked up concept. I'm gonna do a separate podcast about that. But police in general is a fucked up concept. It's fucked up because we need people to police us, but at the same time, who are these people that are policing us? Are they worthy to police other people? Should self-defense be the number one issue of law enforcement? The media is always trying to show you one image, though. They're not showing you the positive images of police and local communities and good relations. They won't show you those things. Every now and then they'll throw out an article, but even on the media, even on these different, say like a CNN or a New York Times or Fox or whatever, if some article or something like that goes against normally what they say, that article gets pushed away, pushed down, like it gets submerged, it gets hidden. And it's like, that doesn't really fit what we normally do or say here, so we're gonna have to not put this up on the front page. Man, that's just something I cannot understand. The level, because it goes deeper than that. When I say I can't understand, or I mean I feel like I can't even understand or comprehend the level of manipulation that it goes to. Like, these are things that I'm talking about that I noticed and that has been noticed by others. Media propaganda was used to go into war. Hell, when after World War II, when they took down Nazi Germany and stuff, whatever, and they brought Operation Paperclip, and they brought over the Nazi scientists and stuff, whatever. What do you think they respected about Hitler? The way he was able to manipulate and use propaganda to control the masses. Look how 9/11 was used to invade countries that they knew had nothing to do with 9/11. Yet they invaded the motherfuckers. Why? Because they got public support. How they got public support? Propaganda. Media. Happens all the time. And what they would tell you, news outlets, government agencies, they'll come out, CIA, FBI, they'll come out and declassify something years later. Get about 10, 25 years later. Whenever nobody could be prosecuted, that's when they'll tell you. It goes so deep. If you get anything out of this, if you didn't understand what the fuck I was saying, if you weren't even listening this fucking long, anything, don't trust anybody. Don't trust anyone. Do your own research on shit. Figure shit out for yourself. Formulate your own opinion. Keep your emotions in check. And then you can speak on it. Or don't speak on it. It's up to you. Because there's a push going on now that everybody needs to speak up on things and not, or you can't be silent and stuff or whatever, blah blah. But how do you know someone is speaking up or not? Just because they don't post on social media doesn't mean they're not speaking up to their friends. Does not mean that they're not speaking up to their peers at work. Does not mean they're not speaking up to their family members. Because we all have friends, family members, and peers and coworkers that we don't necessarily agree with everything that we do and stuff like that. But you still speak up on it. The change that needs to be made does not have to always be on a massive scale. The change can be made within yourself and the people around you. A virus does not attack everybody at once. It jumps from person to person to person, but it spreads quickly. Change can be a virus. It doesn't have to attack everybody at once. It can just jump from person to person and spread quickly. Progress is all you can ask for. A change in media. If we can't get the change in media, then guess what? Change ourselves. Change your thought pattern. I want facts in the media to be presented at all times. It's not going to happen. I can hope for the best, but I don't believe it will because money is involved. But I know what I can do. Read a little bit of this article, read a little bit of that article, all about the same subject, all about the same topic. And I formulate my own opinion. If it takes me 30 more minutes than normal, excuse me. Yeah, that fucked up everything. Nobody said you can burp while you fucking recording. But if I have to take a few more minutes than normal and stuff, then I, do it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm looking at my phone right now. I just got a notification, but really I wanted to look at because I know I have this app on my phone called Newsbreak, and it gives me a lot of local news stuff. Something my mom had told me about, so I got on it. So look at these headlines. I'll read a couple of headline examples. It says Florida sheriff, police chief kneel in solidarity with demonstrators. One positive image, right? After the hundreds of negative images. The next notification I got was coronavirus impacts Beach Street. Talks about negative things, goes back to coronavirus to let you know the coronavirus is still here. Then the next notification I got is Trump calls governors facing unrest, quote, weak and, quote, fools. Urge stronger police tactics. All these different headlines, man. And with that, you do what you need to do. I'll click on an article, I'll read some of that, and then I'll go search something else, and then I'll go search something else, and I try to put together all perspectives because that one article is not gonna give me all the perspectives I want. Because what does the headline say? Is Trump calls governors weak and fools. It's a negative connotation. Trump says a lot of negative things. But before I make an opinion about anything, I need to make sure I take the time to read the whole quote, get all the facts, read everything, and I won't get it from that one article. I'm going to have to go to multiple sources. In school, when you write your paper, they tell you to get multiple sources and all this other stuff. Basically apply a scientific method on how you or scientific approach to things. When you have evidence, you have to gather a whole bunch of when you're trying to prove something, you have to gather a whole bunch of evidence from multiple places. Same concept applies to your information. Things you gather from the media. Get it from multiple sources, from all perspectives, from all angles. Read it, and then you can formulate your own opinion. Because we're all not going to agree on things. And we're not supposed to. We shouldn't. Because we all agree, we'll all be the same. And none of us will grow. You get growth from our disagreements. We get growth from conflict. Conflict is of human nature. We're violent. We're a violent species. We're territorial. There's a reason why the Homo sapiens are the only Homo left, or whatever. The Neanderthals, Erectus, all these other different Homos, whatever, hominids that existed long in the prehistoric era, before the Stone Age, and all the other stuff. There's a reason why they don't exist anymore. Guess who won? Us. Killed them motherfuckers. They're gone. So we're a violent species. or maybe we're survival of the fittest. We just have better reproductive. Our offspring survive. Survival of the fittest meaning the true definition, meaning our offspring survive. We're fit because of our offspring was able to survive and prosper and keep reproducing. The survival of the fittest, it's Darwinism that's taken out of context. I had to learn that in biology last year when I took it, because that phrase has always been said so much with Darwinism saying survival of the fittest, and you think of it meaning as, oh, he's killing their hell. Darwin wasn't even the one that said it; it was someone else. The survival of the fittest was meaning that fittest if you're able to reproduce, and your offspring are able to reproduce and continue to reproduce. Therefore, that species is fit and will survive. Man, everything you learn is just, man, everything you learn, everything you know, you just have to find different sources. The coronavirus, COVID-19. People have to learn that coronavirus is the name of the family of corona. The family is a family name. Coronavirus is a family name. The rhinovirus, common cold. The influenza virus, the flu. Severe respiratory virus, whatever, SARS. Those things are part of the coronavirus family. Right, you know how many articles and different sources I had to go to just to piece that together? I had different YouTube videos I had to watch just to understand that. Because no one source would just present all those facts. You had a thing where I watched London Real TV, and I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he did an interview with David Icke, and David Icke calls himself an investigative journalist or whatever, trying to uncover truths, and people will call him conspiracy theorists and stuff because he talks about, all these different wild, I don't want to say wild theories, but unconventional, non-traditional things or whatever. And he talks about this stuff, and he was talking about the coronavirus and his views on it and what he believes is the truth, what he believes to be fact about the virus, and it goes against the narrative, the main narrative that the virus is real and it exists and stuff. And whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter, because you should be allowed to determine that on your own. But some people people in political power, positions of power, and YouTube was like, nope, they pulled that video down and stuff because they said that that's giving out misinformation or disinformation, and that is dangerous. Who are these people? Who is Google or ABC Inc., the owners of Google, and Google's the owners of YouTube, and ABC Inc. is the original creators of Google. They went back and bought the company of Google, whatever. But who are these people to tell you what is truthful or what is factual and what is not? You can determine that on your own. And if you can't determine that on your own, well, that's how it is. It is what it is. If you can't decipher what is factual and what is not factual, it is what it is. I mean, the U.S. education system is already a failure, so that's part of the problem as well, because nobody practices or teaches critical thinking. They give you an assignment and tell you to read and to ask you a question to figure out the information and stuff, but that's not critical thinking. You're just trying to answer the question. You're not even allowed to think about something different. You're just being pushed into a box of a thought process. But they took that video down and stuff because they feel it was that way. And it's like, who are y'all? Oh, your YouTube and stuff? I thought, what happened to freedom of speech? I respect all freedom of speech, whether it's hateful speech or misinformation or whatever. Even as I talk about the bias in the media and stuff, hey, that's their choice. That's their right. They can give out wrong information if they want to. Like I said, the problem lies within myself. I am the problem because I cannot determine what is real and what's not real. So that's something I have to constantly keep working on. That's something I have to focus on and trying to determine the facts. I have to get better at my critical thinking skills. Because even if I think I am good at it, I gotta be careful. Cause if I don't get my emotions in check, if our emotions start to run a little bit out of muck, then I will just as easily not be able to understand anything as well, and I will lose that sight of what is factual and what is unbiased. So yeah, it's a war going on for your mind, but the war for your mind has already been won. The war is who gets to control it, because your thoughts are not your own. You are constantly being influenced by everything you watch, everything you listen. Just know that what you watch, what you listen, what you absorb in is entertainment. And through that entertainment, you can find factual information and knowledge. But you have to decipher that, because no one is out here trying to teach you shit. I shouldn't say no one, but you kind of get what I'm saying. If you listen to me enough now, you kind of get what I'm saying. You get when I say certain things. And if you don't understand, well, I need to do a better job. Or you need to do a better job. Probably a combination of both. So that's I try to get my point across as good as possible. Who knows if I did? I think I say that all the time though as well. Like that seems like it's just everything's circulating in my brain and stuff. And I hope there's not something that a point that I wanted to make that I forgot. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. I should write down notes. I'm not going to though. I'm not going to. That's not me. I kind of every time I get on the podcast, I kind of go over in my brain, memorize what exactly I want to say and how I want to say it, and I kind of, long as I kind of start out a certain way, I remember what I need to say, and then I'll make as long as I make sure I end how I want to say things, and I'm good, and then I'll fill in the rest. But it's already all in my brain anyway, so everything I'm saying is nothing I recently thought of either. It's already always been up there that I've been thinking about for years and years. The Zeitgeist movies, you can find them on YouTube. Peter Jackson, I believe, did the films. But that was probably one of the first real documentary I watched that just made me open up my eyes. Well, not made me open my eyes. My eyes were already kind of feeling. I was already trying to awaken, anyways, since I was a kid. Because shit never made sense. That's why I would say the mind of a child. Sometimes I feel like they're way smarter than adults because they see through the bullshit, and as we get older, we get manipulated into the bullshit. And as we get older, it's harder for us. We always want to hold on to what. Like, no, this is true. Don't get emotionally attached to any information. Just accept it as information. Like I said, Africans have been the Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, all the empires, the African nations for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. There's evidence where they have sailed around the world and they have sailed to new lands long before everybody else. But there can be more information that I don't know about yet. But odds are, logically speaking, modern man, Homo sapiens, came out of Africa, the continent, Africa, mainly because it's like the biggest fucking continent on the planet. Your maps lie. The maps lie, man. They're European maps. They show Europe looking bigger than what it is. It has some significance as far as navigation, but why are you not showing kids in America the actualization or scalable, the true scalable size of the continents? Show them that the United States of America fits into the northern part of the African continent. Show them that. They don't understand that. Constantly being lied to. I constantly tell my kids, hey, you learned this at school? That's not true, though. They're like, what? Huh? Why they teach us? Because it's bullshit. And nobody wants to teach. They don't want to rewrite history books. They don't want to change the history, the plans, the teaching. Money's involved. There's so many factors that go into play. But it's on me as a parent to make sure I tell them correct things. It's on me as an individual to make sure that, or I give them the most factual information. It's on me as an individual to make sure I learn the most factual information. It's on me as an individual to not allow myself to be manipulated by media, by TV shows, by movies, by anything of entertainment value. It's on me to not allow these celebrities can speak up on things, and they do have people that listen to them, but it's on me to, and I'm glad that they are speaking up, and they have been speaking up in the past as well. You take some Muhammad Ali and things like that. It was Carl Weathers, not Carl Weathers. God damn, I can't think of his name. You know, when they're at the 72 Olympic stuff, and they threw up the black fist or whatever, the black glove stuff, trying to was it not 72? What year was it? I can't remember the year right now. You know, let them know that, hey, though, black people can be just as strong and athletic and things of that nature as well. It's good to fight for social injustice. It's due to do your own part for social injustice. It doesn't have to be nothing massive or anything. But don't let these media outlets, these TV shows, these celebrities tell you, oh, you need to go out and do this, you need to go out and do that. You do wherever the fuck you're comfortable with doing. Period. They had I respect T.I. and Killer Mike and what they're trying to say, and I agree with some of Killer Mike's speech or whatever. I didn't fall in love with it because I'm not finna fall in love with anything. I respect what he said, and I agree with some of the things he said. But at the same time, why we have them up there doing a press conference? And I'm just throwing that question out there. Why are they up there? Why do I need a celebrity to tell me about things? All I need is the fucking facts. That's it. Everyone has their own Instagram, their Twitter, and they can talk. They can get on fucking YouTube. They can do on Instagram Live, Facebook Live, whatever, and they can tell their own opinion, their own wherever they want to speak their mind at their own time. That way, I don't need a press conference, and you're here. And I'm not criticizing them or anything, and like I said, I respect them and what they say and stuff. But at the same time, why are you always trying to throw a celebrity in my face? And then some celebrities say, oh, you know, some of your celebrities are quiet. Who cares? They could be quiet. Or maybe they're trying to piece together information before they say something. Or maybe they said something, maybe they said it to their family and friends. It doesn't matter, man. Like, we're in a digital information. Everyone can speak up in this country when they want to. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook, you can post wherever you want to. Don't get mad at your friends for posting. A lot of my friends on social media post things I don't ever fucking agree with. But I respect them, and I'm glad that they're trying, and I'm glad that they feel confident or they're not afraid to speak out on certain things. But even if you don't speak out on certain things, doesn't mean you're not afraid either. Maybe you just don't feel like having your opinion, because when you do speak out things, you also put yourself out there and everyone's ready to attack you as well. Because if your opinion is different from the majority, what happens? You get ostracized, you get attacked by the mass. I post things and say things all the time, and people don't agree with it, and I know they don't agree with it, and they can say things in my comments, and you know, that doesn't matter to me. It is what I feel. It is what I say. It is what it is. I mean, and wherever they say, I'm probably just gonna laugh at it because it makes me laugh. Cause I know what standpoint I'm coming from, and I never say anything that is like particularly always on one side of an issue. It's always in the middle. I'll bounce as I speak about something. I'll bounce back and forth. And your media, your news, should be like that. It should be bouncing back and forth in the article, and not necessarily back and forth, but back, left, right, up, down. It should be all over the fucking place because it should be speaking on many perspectives. We all should be trying to see many perspectives because you can't get a full understanding of a picture if you don't have a full perspective of a situation, of that picture. I'm trying to achieve 360 degrees awareness, that all-seeing eye, that complete awareness. I'm trying to achieve that complete awareness, and I know I will not achieve it in this lifetime, and it will take me probably multiple lifetimes, if not all of eternity. Wherever eternity is, maybe beyond time, it will take me to understand, to have that complete awareness. But you know what I'm saying, like a media will try to use different media, politicians, people, you know, uh, companies, Gatorade, Nike. They're trying to use a celebrity as a spokesperson because that person already has a following, and they're trying to push an agenda or put out a biased, statement or a one-side perspective, because to cater to the people that they believe buy their products. Nike got along with Colin Kaepernick because Nike believes that majority of the people that buy their shoes are black people or people on the leftist side or whatever, and let's get this person and stuff who already has his following and caters to the audience that we already are, our customer base that buys our product stuff, and then bam. And I said, you have Killer Mike and Ti talking and stuff, and they're trying to get you. They're trying to appeal to people and stuff that are the young people or someone they think they could will get their attention and stuff and whatnot, but doesn't matter. When you get up there and you're the mayor or you're a political official or city official or something like that, speak the facts. It's my job to determine the rest. It's my job to come up with an opinion. It's my job to have a emotion about it. It's my job to. It's all me. The rest of the shit is on me. Figure this shit out, man. Understand what's going on in the world. And until next time.